In the heart of a jungle, a scar marred the land, a place where a comet, a fragment of a dead star, had fallen from the heavens. This wasn't just a rock from space, it was a curse. From the smoldering crater, a strange, unnatural fire began to spread, a fire that water could not quench. It licked at the ancient trees, turning lush green canopies into skeletal silhouettes against a perpetually orange sky. The jungle, once a symphony of life, was now choked with smoke and a deep, unsettling silence. But from this cursed fire, something new and terrible was born. Wisps of smoke and clouds of ash began to coalesce, twisting into monstrous forms. They were the fire hounds, demonic beasts with embers for eyes and bodies of shifting shadow and soot. They roamed the burning undergrowth, their howls not of sound, but of crackling flames, spreading the curse with every step they took. The jungle's creatures fled in terror, their homes turned to ash, their world consumed by an inferno that never slept. Yet, one creature did not flee. Deep within the shrinking shadows, a pair of emerald eyes watched the devastation. It was a black panther, a whisper of the night made flesh. His coat was the color of the starless sky, his movements as fluid as flowing water. He had seen his home, his hunting grounds, turned into a realm of fire and fear. He was the apex predator, the silent king of this domain, and he would not abandon it. This was his jungle, and he would be its last defender. He observed the fire hounds from the safety of the treetops, the only place where the leaves still offered some cover. He saw how they moved, how they hunted. They were creatures of pure heat and destruction, but they had a weakness. They were born of fire, and like any flame, they could be extinguished. They feared the deep, suffocating shadows, the places the light could not reach. And in the shadows, the panther was master. The shadows were not just his hiding place. They were his weapon. His first strike was a test. He watched a lone hound stray from its pack, its form flickering as it sniffed at the base of a giant banyan tree. The panther coiled his muscles, a spring of pure power. He dropped from the branch above, a silent black bolt from the smoky sky. He didn't just land on the hound, he enveloped it, smothering its fiery essence with his own dark form. There was a hiss like water on hot coals, a final puff of gray ash, and then nothing. The hound was gone. The panther stood alone, the ground beneath him cool for the first time in weeks. He had found their weakness. He could fight back. This small victory ignited a new kind of fire within him, a fire of hope and fury. He began his one panther war. He became a ghost in the burning woods, a living shadow that danced on the edge of the flames. He used the terrain with breathtaking cunning. He would lure the hounds into narrow ravines where the darkness was thickest, striking them down one by one. He would trigger rock slides, burying them under tons of earth, snuffing out their light. From the treetops, he was a silent reaper, dropping onto his prey and extinguishing them before their brethren even knew what was happening. With each hound he defeated, a small patch of the jungle seemed to breathe again. The suffocating heat would recede, and the ever-present orange glow would dim, if only for a moment. The other animals, hiding in caves and burrows, began to sense a shift. They would hear the crackling howls of the hounds, suddenly silenced, followed by a profound quiet. Whispers of a dark guardian, a spirit of the night fighting back the flames, began to spread through the surviving creatures. They didn't see him, but they felt his presence, a sliver of hope in a world of despair. The panther's relentless campaign did not go unnoticed. The source of the fire, the heart of the curse, grew aware of the resistance. It sensed its pack dwindling, its power being challenged, and so it summoned its champion. At the heart of the cursed zone, on the crumbling roof of an ancient, vine-choked temple that now glowed like a furnace, the fire alpha emerged. It was a terrifying spectacle, a colossal beast with 3 heads, each one roaring with the fury of a wildfire. Its body was not of smoke and ash, but of molten rock and liquid flame, a true demon of the comet's curse. The panther felt the alpha's call, a psychic roar that shook the very foundations of the jungle. He knew this was the source. This was the final battle. All his cunning, all his strength, had led him to this moment. He made his way toward the temple, moving through the charred landscape that was now his battlefield. The air grew hotter, thicker, vibrating with the Alpha's power. This was not just another hound. This was the Inferno itself, given form and will. He reached the base of the burning temple and began his ascent, a black silhouette climbing the glowing stone. The three-headed Alpha stood waiting on the roof, a living volcano against the smoky sky. Its three heads turned, their six glowing eyes locking onto the approaching Panther. A triple roar of pure fire erupted, so powerful it sent waves of heat blasting across the rooftop. The battle for the jungle's soul had begun. The Panther was a blur of motion, using the crumbling statues and fallen pillars on the temple roof as cover. He was impossibly fast, a flicker of darkness against the searing light. The Alpha's head spat streams of liquid fire, turning stone to lava where they struck. The Panther dodged and weaved, the heat scorching the air around him. He couldn't fight this beast head-on. It was too powerful, too hot. He had to be smarter. He leapt onto the back of a great stone serpent, its surface blistering hot. One of the Alpha's heads snapped at him, its jaws of fire closing just inches from his tail. The Panther sprang again, landing on the Alpha's own back. The heat was immense, a searing agony, but his fury was greater. He clawed and bit at the molten hide, but it was like attacking a river of lava. He was thrown off, tumbling across the hot stone, his fur singed. He was hurt, but not broken. He looked up, and through the haze of smoke and heat, he saw it. In the center of the Alpha's chest, where its three necks joined, there was a point of intense, pulsating light, a heart of pure, white-hot energy. It was the core of the curse, the source of its power. That was the target. But it was shielded by the three snapping, fire-breathing heads. He needed a distraction. With a roar of his own, he charged not at the Alpha, but at the edge of the temple roof, at a massive, precariously balanced bell tower. Weakened by the fire, he slammed his body against its base with all his might. The ancient stone groaned, shifted, and then began to topple, crashing down toward the center of the roof. The Alpha's three heads instinctively turned to blast the falling tower, incinerating it in a massive explosion of fire and stone. But for that one crucial second, its chest was exposed. That was the opening the Panther needed. Ignoring the searing pain and the exploding debris, he launched himself through the air, a final, desperate leap through the very heart of the flames. He was a black arrow aimed at the white-hot core. Time seemed to slow. He flew through the wall of heat, his vision filled with blinding light. His claws, sharpened by a lifetime of survival, extended. He struck the Alpha's heart with the force of a thunderbolt. There was a sound that was not a sound, a silent, world-shattering scream of energy. A shockwave of pure power erupted from the Alpha's chest, throwing the Panther back. The colossal beast shuddered, its fiery form flickering violently. The brilliant light of its heart dimmed, sputtered, and then, with a final explosive hiss, it went out. The Alpha crumbled, its molten body cooling into black, brittle obsidian before dissolving into a billion spakes of lifeless ash, carried away by the wind. And as the last spark of the Alpha died, a profound change swept across the jungle. The unholy fire that had plagued the land for so long faltered. Flames that had raged for months suddenly shrank, sizzled, and died. The oppressive burning orange glow faded from the sky. Then a single drop of water fell, landing on the Panther's singed fur. Then another and another. The sky, once choked with smoke, opened up. Rain began to fall, a gentle, cleansing rain. It washed the ash from the leaves, cooled the scorched earth, and hissed on the last remaining embers, extinguishing the curse for good. The jungle, wounded and scarred, began to heal. The Panther stood on the cooling temple roof, battered but victorious. He watched as the rain washed his world clean. The silence was no longer one of fear, but of peace. The balance was restored. He was the guardian, the shadow that had brought back the rain. His work was done. Thank you so much for watching this story unfold. If you enjoyed this journey into the heart of the jungle, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel for more tales of myth and legend. We'll see you in the next one.